Daddy, where's my Tinkerbell film?
They're here, darling. Shall we talk about them now while you do cutting? Welcome to Kids Film Review! Yay! Not interested today. Okay, we're here at Kids Film Review. This is episode 8, and today we're going to be looking at two films, which is the original straight-to-video Tinkerbell film and the sequel to it, Tinkerbell and the Lost Treasure, again straight to DVD a few years later. You might think it's a bit strange doing a straight to DVD film release, but I think there's a few good things about these films.
My Tinkerbell film.
Where's your Tinkerbell film? Come and sit down, darling, and you can tell me all about it.
Stop.
Now, why do you like Tinkerbell?
Cause I just like Tinkerbell.
You like Tinkerbell, do you? Are you coming to join in as well, Caris? Caris, what do you like?
It's not scary batting.
What do you like best? Do you like Tinkerbell? Do you like fairies or princesses best?
Fairies and princesses.
Do you like fairies and princesses? Okay, so let's quickly go over the characters of Tinkerbell. Obviously, you've got the main character, Tinkerbell. It's based loosely on the character of Tinkerbell from the Peter Pan stories, but much nicer. She doesn't try and kill little children, and Peter Pan has not yet been introduced in the story, though there is a hint of Wendy at the end of this film.
Scary batting.
It's got scary rats in though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we meet Tinkerbell as she is born, and as she meets her new friends and discovers her talents, she is chosen to be a Tinker Fairy and is named Tink, and sets out to learn the new rules of the fairy kingdom. The world that this is set in is very magical. It doesn't really make sense. But it's just about coherence enough for a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old to understand. And Tink decides she doesn't want to be a Tinker Fairy anymore. She wants to go to the mainland and see the real world where the humans come from and all the lost things come from. And so she decides to become a water fairy and a spring fairy and a wind fairy. But she fails at all these things. And by the end, she learns that she can be just who she can be, true to herself, and she decides to become a Tinker Fairy at the end. What's your favourite part of this film, darling?
Good.
It's good?
Yes.
And what part of Tinkerbell do you like?
The water fairies.
The water fairies?
Scary batting.
You like the water fairies? Can you remember what the water fairy's name is?
No.
Who's Invidia?
Oh! Put it
She's the wind fairy.
Yes.
Yes, it's been very well put together for many commercial opportunities to sell the different Tinkerbell and Tinkerbell Friends fairies and all the merchandising and things. Now, the one thing I do like about Tinkerbell is, although it's a magical film, it doesn't rely on magic for her to achieve her aims. In fact, the whole point of this film is that you can't rely on magic, and you basically have to use your intelligence and things to get through. Spring is coming, and they have to prepare for spring, and because Tinkerbell is tricked into doing something, the preparations for spring are completely wrecked. And it's Tinkerbell who saves the day, and she doesn't save the day by waving a magic wand, or by being pretty, or by seducing the prince, or anything like that. Tinkerbell saves the day by basically being a geek, getting her maker skills out, and using science and technology to save the day. She saves spring by using her intelligence. I think Tinkerbell, although it might not look like it in the first place, is actually a very good role model for little girls, and I would recommend this film. Although I wouldn't give it a very high star rating, I would recommend this film to anybody who wants to encourage their child to become intelligent and geeky and yes, very much so. Therefore, this film comes along a few years later, which is the sequel to it. The girls just watched this morning. Can you tell me what happens in this film, Caris? This one that you just watched this morning?
It has a button and nasty rats.
It has a what?
A button and nasty rats.
It has a batting and nasty rats?
Yes.
Yes, both these films have a U certificate from the BBFC. This one has a little bit of mild threats though. This one has the rats in, darling. Mild threat because near the end, Tinkerbell and her friend Terence, who's a boyfriend, though not a boyfriend, it's strictly platonic, or so Disney says, are stuck in this sunken ship, and lots of rats are trying to get them, and they have to fight their way out of the rat-infested ship. So is that a little bit scary?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in this film, it's set up that Tink, because she did so well at the end of this film, saving spring and everything, is given the job of making a blue moonshine crystal ball which helps produce fairy dust. Anyway, it's a bit of a MacGuffin. She gets given this to make, and unfortunately she smashes the glass ball, the crystal ball, and has to go on a quest to try and get another one. And it turns into a real good, proper adventure story. Again, she's off on this quest, but a new talent comes into this film, as in the producer John Lasseter, which you'll know from the Toy Story and Pixar fame.
Toy Story.
Yes, Toy Story. John Lasseter has been drafted into Disney to look after the animations, and has been a producer on the last few Disney films like Princess and the Frog and these films and a couple of others. And it really shows, because these Disney films have really come on, and instead of them just being about princesses and dragons and things like that, they actually have a proper storyline to them and a proper message behind it.
You got Tinkerbell iPod on your iPod.
That's right. And the Tinkerbell game on my iPod.
Yes.
Do you like the Tinkerbell game on my iPod?
I want to play your iPod.
You want to play my iPod? That's okay.
When I watch it.
You're going to watch Tinkerbell on my iPod?
Yeah.
Yes. Again, like I say, Disney's done very good at spinning off money spinners from the Tinkerbell franchise here. A few months ago, I read an article from Terry Pratchett where he was talking about Doctor Who, and the fact that Doctor Who, the storylines can get a bit weak. I'll just turn that down a little bit, darling. The storylines get a bit weak when Doctor Who just waves his magic wand and solves problems and unlock doors and find out what's wrong with machines. Of course, it's not a magic wand in Doctor Who, it's called a sonic screwdriver. But I agree with Terry Pratchett. His point stands there, and but I take issue with one thing he said. He says he waves his magic wand like Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell never waves her magic wand. In fact, both of these films, Tinkerbell never uses magic to get out of situations and difficulties that she finds herself in. She uses her common sense and scientific principles. In this film, twice in this film, the action revolves around Tinkerbell understanding the principles of surface area to volume ratio, and works out that the best way to make her flying machine fly by increasing surface area to volume is to use dandelion floss, which she can then cover in pixie dust. And yes, she's using pixie dust, but she runs out of pixie dust at one point as well, and has to, and loses the ability to fly. And then later in the film, when she's putting her this magic ball back together again, she and her boyfriend Terence, no, not boyfriend Terence, her best friend, platonic friend Terence, just work out that the smash ball is actually better at refracting light than the whole crystal ball will be. So Tinkerbell, in fact, again shows herself to be a bit of a scientist and has a bit more understanding about scientific principles, more understanding than Doctor Who does actually, and it makes for a better film. So again, I think the animation on this is a big step up from the original film, and the storyline and the characterizations are better. is as well. So even though I would give this about 3.5 stars, I would probably give this a 4 stars film.
Get that one.
Obviously, I would recommend these films to people with little children. I would say the upper age limit for these films would be about 8, but for a kids film review, we can watch it in a couple of minutes, darling. As this is kids film review, and I have got 2 little girls here, I would suggest that these films are definitely ones that you should rent and or buy and watch fairly regularly. I've not seen the 3rd film in this series yet, so I can't comment about the Great Fairy Rescue or whatever that's been called. Though I've heard they do go down the "you've got to believe in yourself" and "you've just got to have faith in yourself and believe that fairies exist" kind of route. But which, if they do go down that route, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed because I think these films are pro-intelligence. And they really encourage your girls to use their brains and not just to look pretty, which unfortunately the Disney princess series don't do. So yeah, I would say 3.5 stars, 4 stars. Kids Film Review will be back in a couple of weeks' time where we'll be reviewing probably one of the live action films like Babe or The Sheep Pig. Seren, just leave the camera please. Babe the Sheep Pig, or the spider one, or maybe even Lassie, one of these live action animal films.
Why can't you Babe?
We're going to watch Babe soon and talk about Babe in a few weeks' time. You looking forward to that? Yeah, okay then. Okay, so this has been Nathan Ray and Karis and Seren for Kids Film Review. Please join our Facebook group, check out our older episodes, and follow us on Twitter, which is @Kids Film Review. If you have any comments or questions or any opinions on any of the films that we've reviewed so far, please drop us an email at kidsfilmreview@gmail.com or leave a message on our Facebook group. And if you've got any films that you'd like us to review for your children in the future, please let us know. So all left to say now is goodbye. Bye. You're going to say goodbye to the camera?
Bye.